Welcome to our deep dive. So today we're pulling from this really fascinating stack of theological research.
Yeah, it's a great topic.
It really is. The mission here is to unpack how the historical Jesus communicated his divine identity within, this strict, radically monotheistic world of first century Second Temple Judaism. And he had to do this without just walking around saying, I am God.
Right, because back then, claiming to share God's nature wasn't like just adding a new deity to a Greek pantheon. It was instant blasphemy.
Yeah, usually when you want to introduce yourself, you just state your title, right?
Yeah.
You walk into a room and say, hi, I'm the new manager, or I'm the guy fixing your plumbing. But in this historical landscape, claiming the ultimate title was a literal death sentence. It is just an incredible historical puzzle.
It really is. And to solve that puzzle, you first have to understand the massive, unscalable wall in Jewish thought between the creator and the creature.
Right.
God was the sole source of reality. Everything else was just creation. There was absolutely no overlap.
It's like Jesus was trying to describe a completely new color to someone, but he was forced to use an old dictionary that just didn't have the words for it.
That's a great way to put it.
He essentially had to redefine their core belief system from the inside out, including the Shema, right?
Yeah.
That foundational statement that God is one.
Yeah, and the most striking way he did that linguistically was by adopting the phrase I am, or ego eimi in Greek, because in the Old Testament, this is the exclusive name of God.
Right, like in the Gospel of John, where Jesus tells the crowd, before Abraham was born, I am. It's grammatically bizarre, honestly.
It is.
But if you were a first-century Jew hearing a human say, I am, it would trigger this immediate visceral reaction. And they immediately picked up stones to kill him.
Oh, absolutely. He's contrasting Abraham's historical created beginning with his own existence. He's basically saying his existence doesn't depend on anything else. He just is.
Wow.
And we see the sheer weight of this at his arrest in Gethsemane. When the soldiers ask for Jesus, he says, I am, and they physically fall backward.
That's why.
Yeah, the text portrays it as a manifestation of divine power just from uttering the name.
So, if uttering I am nearly got him stoned, he couldn't just leave it at words. People could just write him off as crazy.
Right, he had to prove it.
Exactly. He had to back up those claims legally and physically. He does this with ancient titles, though. I have to admit, Son of Man always sounded so mundane to me. It sounds like the most humble way to just say, I'm a human being.
Well, that's a really common misconception today. But for his original audience, Son of Man pointed directly back to an explosive vision in the book of Daniel, chapter 7. In it, a figure like a son of man rides the clouds of heaven.
And the crazy thing about that Daniel passage is that riding the clouds was exclusively Yahweh's mode of transport. So he's claiming the ultimate throne.
He is. Fast forward to Jesus' trial before the Sanhedrin. The high priest, Caiaphas, demands to know who he is. Jesus says they will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds.
Which is why Caiaphas literally tears his robes in horror.
Right, exactly.
Because asserting shared sovereignty like that is undeniable blasphemy.
It wasn't just titles, though. It was actions. In Mark chapter 2, Jesus heals a paralyzed man, but first he says, your sins are forgiven.
Right. And you don't forgive a debt unless it's owed to you. He's basically settling moral debts owed only to the Creator.
But see, if forgiving sins was purely a God thing, his critics actually had a legal counter-argument ready. In Jewish law, there's the Shalia principle, the law of agency. It basically means a man's agent is as himself.
Oh, okay. So under that theory, when he says things like I and the Father are one, his critics could just claim they have a oneness of purpose, like a really loyal ambassador speaking for the king.
That's the argument, yeah. But Jesus shatters the mold of an ambassador. Prophets and angels, the ultimate messengers, they always refused worship. Their entire job was to reflect the sender and deflect attention away from themselves.
Right, whereas Jesus routinely accepts worship. And he also claims to have innate life within himself, not just some delegated temporary authority. By accepting worship, he essentially hijacks the agency. He isn't just delivering the mail, he's claiming to own the post office.
Which brings us to why this context matters to you, the listener. Understanding this first-century landscape proves that the idea of worshiping Jesus wasn't some later invention by Greek philosophers or Hellenistic thinkers hundreds of years later.
Right.
It was an immediate, direct response to the impact of his original words and actions in a strictly monotheistic world.
It really forces you to look at that historical puzzle from a totally different angle. I want to leave you with a thought from the theologian Richard Bauckham, regarding the crucifixion.
It's a profound thought.
It is. When Jesus cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Bauckham suggests it isn't a failure of his mission. It's actually God voluntarily entering the ultimate human experience of feeling God forsaken.
Yeah.
So as you go about your day, I'll leave you to mull this over. What if ultimate divine power isn't best revealed through a lightning bolt, but through ultimate humility?